We're live. We are back. We are here. I did the reaction to the Bonner signing yesterday and the Luka Doncic trade and the Royal Rumble. But I figured, another day to process things. And some people might not have been there for a Sunday afternoon. So better to bounce back with yet another show. Not bounce back, come back. You know what? You got the point. Anyhow, back live and full effect. Please like and subscribe to the channel. All those good things. Get your comments in. Check out Women's Fastbreak on SI. Link in the description. So the free agency fallout, right, in the WNBA. Let's start there because it feels as if the vast majority of the moves have been made. There will be small moves on the edges. There will be small signings, but the dust has settled, if you will, on the big moves and the big trades and the big signings and the things that are likely to shake up the league. And I understand that they receive more coverage. They receive more coverage from everybody because they're more popular, because Caitlin Clark plays for them. Obviously, I have covered them extensively. But the Indiana Fever are the winners of the free agency period, in my mind. I mean, it has nothing to do with who you're rooting for, who you like, or anything like that. It has to do with the roster turnover and overhaul that they made. The Fever last season had, I would say, 4 players at the end of the year that could be considered core reliable pieces. There were other players that helped at times, but there were 4 players who you went, oh, well, Clark, duh. Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, Lexi Hull. Now that number is up to 7 with some of the ancillary pieces and the pieces around the edges to supplement it. But you can roll out a starting 5 of Clark, Mitchell, Bonner, Howard, Boston, with Hull and Cunningham coming off the bench. That starting 5 is 5 of the top 30 scorers in the league last year when it comes to points per game. It means everybody is a threat on the floor at all times. Howard can run the floor and finish. So can Bonner. Bonner can shoot the rock. I'm sure Howard is going to be in the gym on that corner 3. Obviously, it takes the pressure off of Caitlin Clark because if you're going to double her, good luck. And if you're going to single her, good luck. And then think about Kelsey Mitchell. She thrived last year off the attention Clark drew. With the attention that everybody's drawing, and then you're bringing the juice off the bench, and you got shooting, Hull, Cunningham, Mitchell, Clark, shooters, and you got toughness and defense, which the team didn't have in the past. I mean, they were lacking it, but Howard brings that, Bonner brings that, Cunningham brings that. I don't know, man. I don't. People keep saying they're in the title picture. Who's better than the Indiana Fever right now? Because I think, Caitlin Clark vaults to number 1 player in the league status and conversations at worst next year, but I think status. And the team is as talented as anybody else. Top to bottom. The front office went crazy. What a smashing success. Now, there were other big free agency moves, and some of them feel in the distant past now. When you go back to the Kelsey Plum move, which is one of the second most interesting move to me, other than what the Fever did, just because I think Plum is going to flourish in Los Angeles. Her star power will go back up. She's already one of the more recognizable faces in the league. I think the amount of time that she's on the ball is obviously going to increase. Her numbers are going to increase. And I think her notoriety and fame are going to increase, as well as leading the Sparks to the playoffs. And that core of Jackson with Brink, Hamby, and Plum is an interesting one. So I think the Sparks did well in that deal. I know people keep being obsessed with draft picks, but again, like I told you, that's potential, not proven. And the likelihood the second pick in the draft gives them what Kelsey Plum will for the rest of their career is very, very small. in Indiana, they showed you when they flipped the draft pick to do the moves that they did, which sent Nalissa Smith to Dallas. That wing situation is interesting. They've got Nalissa Smith and Dejanay Carrington now. Obviously, we know that Fever fans must feel great about that not being a part of their organization anymore. No, I mean, not only was Nalissa Smith not reliable on the court, borderline liability, but it was always like a subplot because Dejanay would say something online, and you think like, oh, what does Nalissa think about back and forth? I don't think that will happen the same with Dallas, but it was an interesting move for the Wings. And then, is Paige Beckers, what does she think about the way that their roster has been overhauled? Perhaps Nalissa can get more out of her career coming up here. Get more out of a renaissance in Dallas. Looking at the roster right now. Enrique obviously still there, but that's not a look. It's not fair to who's it, Kurt Miller running things over there, to expect him to have a winning roster already. But I think those moves are being oversold a little bit as far as like the impact on wins and losses over there. That is not a great team, in my opinion. The Atlanta Dream get Brittany Griner, and they add to their existing group of Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray. So that's an interesting little team. The Bree Jones signing for them as well. They're a little big heavy there. I wonder how that's going to work out personnel-wise. But it certainly, I think, elevates them a bit. I wouldn't put them, I'd put them on that Sparks level I was just talking about, though, not with the big boys, or big girls, I guess I should say. And then otherwise, there's the Phoenix Mercury. And the Mercury, I give them credit for overhauling the roster in real time. Like, to go from a previous era to the next era that quickly shows you what people think about the organization. But I don't think with the Alyssa Thomas and Satu Sabali moves, I wouldn't put the Mercury up there either. To me, you obviously defer to the champs. The Liberty are in the mix. And, the Liberty I'm not lucky, it was an astute move, but the Liberty's Febich acquisition was just so huge because they've essentially got, 4 stars with Febich, Ionescu, Stewie, and Jones. The Lynx, of course, given the way they lost and the players they have, and they brought everybody back, and they've got Nafisa Collier, who is right there in the best player in the league conversation. So at the Lynx, you could mention the Aces. I mean, Jewel Lloyd comes in for Plum. They don't just lose Plum. But it's hard to have one of these dynasty runs and the wear and tear, and then you come back. Because it felt like last year might have been the last remnants of it, and they were still competitive. But I'd put the Fever ahead of them. I think it's, personally for me, I think the top 3 are the Fever, the Lynx, and the Liberty. I'd put the Aces 4th going into next season. After that, you're going to have, I'd say, the Mercury, Dream, Storm, Sparks jockeying for the positions. Just off the top of my head. But, I mean, calling the Fever championship contenders after that offseason doesn't feel like much of a statement. Feels like a foregone conclusion. Lots of comments, I notice. Get to them in just a second. Good to see you all in here. What do I have? What is this? It was just in the fridge. I don't even know. Couple other quick topics to hit on. before I get to the chat. Luka officially welcome to that trade is still crazy to think. Like it was exactly what the NBA needed though, I think, because they were sort of desperate for an injection of interesting. Everything kind of just felt flat. And all of a sudden, this crazy shakeup happens. Luka goes to the Lakers. He's teamed up with LeBron. How the hell did the Mavericks make this move? How are they going to do with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving in the core? Is it going to come back to bite their entire fan base, or will they, compete still this year? And how does the Luka LeBron transition work in LA? Because I could actually argue that short term, Anthony Davis could do as well for the Mavericks, considering they have Kyrie Irving, but he's really the only scorer and creator on the Mavericks. So that's going to be the problem, is whenever teams overload on Kyrie, who else is beating you? I think that's their biggest issue. Anthony Davis, is a hell of a player. I think he's actually become underrated in all this talk because he's got that street clothes label and everything, but he's actually played more than it's not like he misses a ton of time. His reputation is worse than his actual availability. But that lack of self-creation and everything might burn Dallas. And then with the Lakers, I don't know how they put a real defensive lineup on the floor with Reeves and LeBron and Luka, but just the talent level of LeBron and Luka on the floor together is something to see. And it feels like the Lakers just always are able to do this, right? They're always able to reset their franchise. I mean, they're the most prestige franchise in the history of the league. And then, they go from Kareem to Magic to Shaq and Kobe to LeBron to now Luka. They're always able to do it. But the behind the scenes stuff between Dallas and Luka is going to be fascinating to see released and discussed and all that stuff. And then finally, Not Like Us wins the Grammy. I enjoyed the Grammys quite a bit last night. I think the Grammys are the best award show. The Grammys to me are the best award show because it's really just like a great concert. That Billie Eilish song that she played earlier, I had to go find. I don't know how I didn't hear it. Maybe I heard it in passing. What's the name of it? Let me just give her credit because that song was great. Birds of a Feather. I heard that. I was like, oh, this is cool. Even that group that opened the show, Dawes, I think their name was. Cool. I like that performance. It was good. Doechii killed it. And I've been saying Doechie's the next great female rapper, but she killed it. And then there were the moments. Taylor Swift seemed to be enjoying herself. Obviously, Jay and Blue proud of Beyonce when she wins the Best Country Award. I thought Cowboy Carter was good, not great. I don't love it. I didn't hear the other country albums, to be honest with you, so I don't know how it stacks up against the competition. It's got some great tunes on it, but I wasn't blown away by it. But, oh well. And then Not Like Us winning in song and record of the year. Just such a cultural moment that song was. Like, it's crazy to see that crowd of A-listers going A minor. That is another, people are wondering, is Kendrick going to perform it? Of course he's going to freaking perform it at the Super Bowl. It's the most awarded rap song of all time, the biggest rap song of last year, one of the biggest cultural moments in the history of pop culture. Of course he's going to perform it at the Super Bowl. But just continues this victory lap. I mean, man down, call the ambulance, tell him breathe, bro, There you go. All right. I shall get into the chats now. Oh, I also, I enjoyed the whole medley performance. That Doechii had her performance, and then they did like a medley performance. That Shabuzi song, I don't even drink, but the bar getting tipsy song is good. Great concert overall. I really quite enjoyed that entire show. Very, very good show. All right, let's get to you guys in the comment section because that's why I'm here. Subscribe, like, comment, all of the above. Got a super sticker from Daddy Pal. Thank you, Daddy Pal. I appreciate that, sir. Super sticker from Daniel Green. Also, very much appreciated. Thank you. Kevin Zwicker says, look out for the Sparks. He's a big Kelsey Plum fan. Kevin is. Look, it's going to be a great year for Kelsey Plum. I do believe for her career. I mean, people forget Kelsey Plum was the all-time leading scorer on the women's side before Clark broke that record. A lot of fake graphics going around online, guys, so be careful. Just saw one. Just because people put things on a graphic doesn't mean it's true. Kevin also adds, I don't care about any NBA trades, Knicks in 6. Well, against whom? We'll see. I mean, the Knicks did go all in. Knicks they got a couple year window, I would say. All right. So obviously, as you just saw, super chats, member chats get read first, at least to the best of my ability. And after that, I will make my way through the chat. Will the Fever win the big one in 2025? Look, nothing is guaranteed, right? Like I can't tell you for sure. Well, you can never work. I always say this: you can never work results backwards, right? Like you can't define the result. You have to do your best to get to the result, and they are in a position to win in 2025. It would be not even mildly surprising. Interesting title. I don't know. I just figured I'd make it a broad one to get as much in as I could, sort of, dust settling. Mike Hall says Fever 2025 rings. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to, that should be the expectations, right? Look, I mean, championship or bust mentalities are stressful, right? I'm a Nets fan, so I lived through that, and I don't like the idea of only one outcome being a success, just because it removes all context and all joy from a journey. Like, let's say a team, forgetting the Fever, but any team wins way more games than it loses, makes a deep competitive playoff run, and loses on a heartbreaker. It sucks. But was it a failure and a disappointment that you got joy way more often from your team than you didn't? See it. So, but absolutely, that should be the expectation for the Fever. Absolutely. Ben Lamperick says, is there a team with a better top 7? No. No. Best backcourt in the league. Multiple former champs. Multiple All-Stars. No. As I said, Smooth Bing, I don't like to put that blink. I don't put that label on things. Or I try not to, unless it's like also, it's not a situation where the Fever are all in on this. They're all in on this year, but they're not all in on this year at the expense of future years. Lisa Diaz. Hello, everyone. What's up, Lisa? Heart of a God. Indy taking it all in 2025. What if that 19th pick is Lucy Olsen? I mean, I've seen that floated around. Look, Lucy Olsen had a great game yesterday for Iowa against Juju Watkins. We'll see. I mean, 19 is pretty deep in the draft. I'm not going to speculate on that. It's almost impossible to know who's going to be available at that point in time. I think you cross that bridge when you get to it. What up, Detroit? Katie says, do you think the Fever front office has more in store for us, or do you think they're mostly done? I think they're mostly done. I think you might see, again, a move on the edges to bring in a little guard support, but they don't have anything else to work with. I mean, their only big salary they can move is Katie Lou Samuelson, and who the hell would want her salary? Aside from that, I mean, what other moves could you possibly want to? I mean, they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, max deal, right? They bring in a max player in Bonner and a max player in Howard. We're close. I'd have to go look at it, but more or less, right? So no, I think the Fever are all but done. Christian Spencer said, do we have another big in mind? I mean, you could bring Doncic back. That's a big. probably the best option at this point. And I also think the Fever now have one of the things they have with these moves is lineup versatility. So they can go big, and their starting lineup will be big with Boston, Howard, Bonner, Clark, and Mitchell, especially in the front court. That's pretty big front court. Aaliyah's not big for that position, but when you combine it with the length of Bonner and Howard, it's pretty big. But they also have the opportunity to go small, right? Like they have interesting small ball combinations they could put out there where you could play, a funky lineup like Howard, Cunningham, Hull, Clark, Bonner, right? Something like that and still have some size out there, but be small and spread the floor. There's just a lot of different options that they have. Roger Lee Fontaine says Sparks have a very likable team too. Lots of nice personalities to go with the star power. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be one of the more popular teams next year. I mean, market helps, but players help, marketability helps. Obviously, all those things. Says they were scouting at the game yesterday. The whole front office makes you wonder. I don't think they were scouting. I think they were there for Caitlin Clark's jersey retirement. That, which is the thumbnail. TXZ06 says, seems like the front office was going after players that filled the spot and they had a relationship with, so they knew they fit the profile. Yeah, I mean, I think character mattered. I think fit obviously mattered, right? I mean, they didn't just bring in players to bring them in. They brought in players to plug holes and fill needs. So, yeah. By the way, I think we might be at a current YouTube record for concurrent viewers. So thank you. I've seen bigger numbers across like all platforms, but on YouTube, I don't think I've seen a bigger number for simultaneous viewers. You guys are great. Yeah, I mean, I think this too. The Aces are slow. They were slow last year. I don't. They're not getting faster. I think the Aces run is probably done. They're going to be a good team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're going to suck, but I put them a tick below the Fever and the Liberty and the Lynx. C-Man says, great content as always. Thank you. Mark Richter says, just wait till you see the impact Sophie makes on the Fever. I predict she'll be a starter for most of the season. Look, I mean, Hull and Cunningham are both capable starters. So I think the starting five will be what I said, but they're capable starters. And, they're different types of players too. Like Lexi is very frenetic the way she plays. Energy, hustle, grit, and then spot up shooting. I think you're a little bit more of a traditional 3-and-D with Cunningham size-wise. And shooting, she can really shoot the ball in pressure situations. And she brings a degree of feistiness and toughness to the team. She'll throw down. So will Bonner. So will Howard, I think. Like, you got this team didn't have that last year. No disrespect. Nice team, good team, great women on the team. But they didn't have dog. They brought the dog in the offseason. Paul Ross says the Fever don't have to worry about trouble with their bench. See another comment in the Diana, did you see something Carter as a spark, or you just because I would need that confirmed. Are you referencing Kennedy Carter? To me, I have heard that teams are not interested in Kennedy Carter. That is what I have heard. So if I were predicting right now based on that, Kennedy Carter goes unsigned. Maria Monsegur says, Fever killer team. Daniel Green says, I always do a great job. How about them Pacers? Hey, look, man. Shout out to the Pacers. They're aligned with the Fever. They're fourth in the East right now. They're right in that mix. For all of Kevin talking about the Knicks, it's not like the Knicks are that much ahead of the Pacers, which is interesting the way the Pacers have built it too. They got Siakam, which was a pretty big acquisition. And Halliburton's obviously come up through the organization since getting moved over there. But yeah, the Pacers I think there is a benefit to the Fever front office from the experience running, a team like that, or being part of running a team like that translated over for sure. Kevin says the Grammys are lame because he loves Drake and Drake continues to have his grave danced on. Brandon Sleep says Katie Lou going to the Valks. Why would you do that if you're the Valkyries? For what? I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but at that contract, like, I hope you're right, or I hope she again, rejuvenates her career, but maybe she did have a kid, and that could have had an impact for sure. I mean, her career numbers were slightly better than last year, but I don't know. Katie Lou did nothing for the team last year. Nothing. She wasn't fast enough to guard. She didn't hit open shots. I don't know. Leon Botella says, I am from OKC and love your show. What do you think we need for backup for CeCe? Maybe in the draft. Haley Van Lith, Lucy Olsen. Yeah, it could be in the draft. Look, here's the thing. The backup for CeCe is you don't want her to play every game all season, right? You want to make sure she's rested and fresh, but she still is going to dominate the ball and be out there most of the time. So you really just need somebody who can come in and the team doesn't fall apart in those minutes. Maybe bring a little bit of extra punch and energy. And if that person is doing well, CeCe sits on the bench a little bit longer for that run. But it's it's painting on the edges. Erie Cliff says, which unrivaled skills will edify the WNBA? Will anything learned be a disadvantage? Edify? Throwing the vocab at me. Will help them? Hey. I'm doing a live stream. You can't play in my office. You play quietly over there? Come here. Come say hi. Can you play quietly? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, go play quietly, okay? But you can't make noise. All right. Sorry, where was I? Oh, edify. I think, look, they do have player development coaches down at Unrivaled. I mean, that's what those guys specialize in. That's what the staff that's there specializes in. So I think it's only good for players. I don't think there's any downside for players. I mean, it's everybody's individual choice, but I think it's good for them. Get to work on their. We've already seen players working on their game. I don't see any negative to Unrivaled. I've said it a million times. I don't understand. There is zero negative. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean you have to watch it. I just see no negative to it. There's no downside. Other than somebody can get injured, but somebody could get injured playing overseas. Somebody could get injured in practicing. I mean, there's all sorts of ways. That's the territory of playing professional sports. Tariq says Bonner is 37 and Howard is 34 this year. This is a shot at a quick chip, not a dynasty. Disagree. Again, a dynasty is based on the foundation of the team and the root of the team. And the foundation of the team is Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, same as it was. Now you're building around that foundation. And all of the WNBA deals are one-year deals right now because of the new CBA. So there's no reason the Fever can't do what they did this offseason, next offseason, and the offseason after that until we see what the rules are and the pay structure is and the contract structures are. But they can retool around that foundation every year in order to stay at the top. So I don't think this is a look at a quick chip at all. I think this is a look at multiple chips consecutively or competing for the championship year after year. Now, will everybody that signed this time around be a part of that in the future? Maybe not. But some of them still will. And 34 ain't that old. 37's getting up there a little bit. Goodness rated Bo. DeWanna Bonner is a great get for the Fever. Agreed. TXOZ06 says video from Doncic in Turkey. Looks like she's in much better shape, putting up good numbers also. Look, Doncic serves a purpose. She's a big body. She can spot up, shoot. But she can't really move, get up and down the floor. She's for specific things. But she can be on the team. Nancy said it's going to be so much fun to watch the Fever. Yeah, I can't wait till May, right? Katie Porter, look at you, 600 viewers. Yeah, more than that on YouTube alone. Pretty crazy, right? From where this started. Shane Flanagan says, if Bonner can be that weak side defender, I think the Fever will do well. I only fear the Lynx. I mean, the you have to give the liberty as Daddy Pal. Also, he put a super sticker up. He gets his chat back up. Those are the two teams. And you saw those two teams were dead even, right? So I don't know if you put one of those teams over the other after the finals last year when they more or less stayed the same. But I think the Fever got to that level. I do. Paul Round says they need one more big body as a project and an emergency backup. They will use all their picks on bigs, invite them to camp, and keep the one that is the best fit. Look, I think the front office has earned the trust. They've earned the trust. Mimi Porter says, anyone hear anything about Asia lately? I haven't. Well, Asia did get her jersey retired yesterday at South Carolina. Shouts out to Asia. Congratulations. Obviously a great college career and a tremendous pro career. So I did hear something about Asia lately. I heard about her yesterday at South Carolina. Thank you for the comment. Nick Walt says, great content. Chris Ward says, with Saxon and Berger gone, do you think they try to offload Katie Lou to make another free agency acquisition? Again, good luck. If they can offload Katie Lou Samuelson, I mean, they deserve a parade. There should be a parade before the season starts for the offseason, for the free agency period. Because that's got to be hard to do. I mean, I guess the way I could see it happening is there is a salary floor, I believe. So a team that may not be there for the salary floor, if you sweeten it by giving them draft picks, then maybe that can happen. That's the way I think that trade goes down, if I had to guess. They move Katie Lou to a place that needs to eat salary, and the Fever attach draft picks in order to move her. That would be my guess. So maybe that is the Valkyries. Kayla says they're way under the minimum. Same with Monique Morris. So yeah, Katie Lou Samuelson and a first round pick, just to move her contract is possible, I suppose. Brett Atwood wants Georgia Amora as a backup. I'm not saying Caitlin would hold a grudge, but isn't that the one that there was a little thing with? But either way, you can't let that get in the way. Daniel R. Johnson says conditioning will definitely be impacted by Unrivaled. In a good way, no? I don't know how it would be impacted negatively. Rohan getting some compliments. I should have asked him what edify means. Do you know what edify means? Play basketball? Hey, that's a good answer in the context. Chris Ward tells me to enjoy my kids while they're young and fast. Goes fast. I know. He's the youngest one. I've got the older ones now. Another quick announcement. I've said this before, but I will be taking my family on a Disney Marvel cruise. We leave Super Bowl Sunday to Florida, and then we dock out of Florida on Monday. So I will be mostly off the grid for the first time in a long time next week. Doing what I do, I can never be. I have to have things in case of extra significance or importance or gravitas for my businesses. But my plan is to be mostly away and trying to reset the brain a little bit. I've been working 7 days a week for 1 year straight. So wanted to spend a little time with my family and enjoy the fruits of the labor. So just an announcement, if you see far less content or almost no content here next week, that is the reason why. Next week. You'll miss me. Yeah, this is why I said, Chris, about Bonner, when people were talking about that, the relationship thing with Alyssa Thomas. Who cares with her? It's a whole different thing with Smith and Carrington because it's extra. Bonner is a pro, Alyssa Smith leaves a lot to be desired in approach. Lisa Diaz wants Disney Cruise feedback. Aria tells me to enjoy my family time, as does Cindy. Thank you, guys. And Terry Sprout. You know what's funny? When you say there's a long season, you podcast 5 times a day. You know what the real secret is? It's so much easier when there's more going on. It's so much easier because when there's less going on, you spend so much time searching for things that are interesting, and you almost need volume to make up for the lack of mass casual interest. Versus when the things like are happening, like yesterday was the easiest day in the world to both do YouTube content and website content, and don't have to go overboard because the stories come to you, and in fact you wind up turning down stories at that point because you know the ones that you're doing are successful and what people really care about. So what I did last season, was generally it's like easy. I'm like, all right, I know when the games are. I'll do stuff around that. Well, Basil says searching equals making up bullshit. I push back a little bit on that. No one's making up anything. Covering things that are not as significant or important, yes. That's the nature of the biz. I'm open to any criticism or feedback, but I think for the most part, I don't think I've ever really oversold things or been dishonest about what I'm covering or tried not to cover. I try to cover things I think the audience is interested in. So it is what it is. When an off season of a pro league that helped build the channel with a team and a player that helped build the channel is 6 months long, it's going to be hard to have the same level of significance to some things versus other things. But again, yesterday is such a big day because you've got these free agency moves. You got Clark getting her jersey retired. The stories just come to you. Thank you, Nancy. But I don't think I've ever made anything up. Actually, I know I've never made anything up. So that comment I take offense to, Basil. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that. Really, it really is sick to see how many people join these streams and want to hear what I have to say. So that will never go unappreciated or unnoticed. Not going to Disney World, Rocket Knight. I'm going on a Disney cruise. But thank you. It was a nice jersey ceremony. You found a basketball card? Who is that? Look at this. JJ Redick at Duke. I actually called their games back then, Maryland's games, when JJ Redick was on that Duke team. Carlos Boozer was on that team. Jay Williams during that run at some point. Yeah, the Terps won the title when I was there. This can be, you want that JJ Redick card? You should give it to Raj. Is Raj here? Go get him, please. Go play with him. What are you doing in here? Huh?
Play.
You want to play? Okay, go play quietly then, like I said. They waived Berger, Ron Hill. Amber, at this point, I'm just going to have to say, you rewatch on demand from the beginning. But I will address any question you have. Oh, this was nice too. Lisa Diaz points out it was classy of USC to stay for the jersey retirement ceremony with Caitlin. That was a cool gesture. I did think that, and people noticed it too. It had an impact on people. I think, with Clark's fan base, because of how much pushback and like resentment or whatever you want to call it there was, I think anytime she's sort of shown love and respect, Clark's fans get really excited because it feels like, oh, there it is finally, and so I've noticed that those stories really resonate with people. I should get another chat in at least this week, so don't worry. I don't think it will be. I don't leave till Sunday, like I said, or Monday, and it's only going to be. It's not going to. It seems longer when I say it to you than you'll probably actually even notice. Less than a week. Mick Zed says, is Bonner signing true? Why is there no announcement? Yes, it is true. They announced Howard today. That was reported on Friday? They have to, these things have to be made official. So some of this stuff has to move, you have to move the salary and the like, and officially cross the T's and dot the I's, but they have definitely signed DeWanna Bonner. They definitely will sign Bonner. That's not, I'm not sure if they live streamed the Asia ceremony I saw it. I saw footage from it. Bam Adebayo was there. Asia sort of publicly referenced their relationship. It's always been like coyly before. And she was in tears. It was emotional for her, as it should be. But I don't know how it exactly went down because I don't think that game was nationally televised versus the Iowa USC game was on Fox, so it made it a lot easier for everybody to see. Oh, Monique Morris says it's on the WNBA transactions page. So there you go. Jaylen Brown with Sophie, who played limited minutes for but had good shooting numbers. Are you singing Cody Rhodes' theme song over there, buddy? Rohan is over there singing Cody Rhodes' theme song. All right, guys, I might have to get to daddy duty here in a minute, but I did want to get another stream in. So we're on like a 2 or 3 minute warning here. I'll get to as many more comments as I can. Please like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. But I should probably take care of my 3-year-old child who is in the room with me right now. Tekla says the players with true championship mindsets knew where to sign this free agency. Well, look, the idea that people didn't want to play with Caitlin Clark was ridiculous, right? One, your life gets made easier on the court. 2, you get more fans. You get to play in front of a sold-out arena at home and on the road. You get more endorsement deals, so you're going to make more money. And you get to compete for championships. Who wouldn't like that? Tariq says, in 3 years, one of us will be proven incorrect. I'm betting that it will be you. All right. I mean, my track record been pretty good so far. My speculation been on point. You see. Leaving W legacy in shambles. Mellow Yellow says Bonner's going to back her wife and tell her how wonderful CC and Fever fans were. Look, that's a comment in the heat of the moment. Again, I think so much of what was said on the internet was boosted to a degree beyond it where it should have been in the WNBA. But Bonner is a pro. Kevin with another super chat. Shout out to the Rodozer. Kevin is very generous with his super chats considering how much I troll him in the group chat. Sil says, thank you. Who talked to me like what, Basil? Oh, I'll never say when I'm wrong. I don't think I have a problem admitting when I'm wrong. I'm just right most of the time. So it's few and far between. Maybe it goes unnoticed. I think that's probably it. More than anything else. Most likely more than anything else. All right, y'all. But I've been wrong before. And I think I admit when I'm wrong. But you guys wouldn't listen to me probably if I was just like wrong all the time. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be a little bit of an issue. If I was just spectacularly bad opinions, what would be the point of as many people being in here as they're in here right now? Truly, though, always appreciate it, y'all. Thank you. Until the next one, eat.